The Wellington standoff between Mayor and Minister continues, with Tory Whanau bringing the fight to the Beehive today. The Mayor was granted her requested meeting with Local Government Minister Simeon Brown and made her case that the council didn't need government intervention. But Brown told us he's still not convinced. Here's senior political correspondent Jenna Lynch.
Walking up for the most beltway of political showdowns, the Minister versus the Wellington Mayor. Today's round beginning with an early morning meeting at the Beehive.
Polite, and it was very friendly.
As friendly as a meeting can be with a government which has called your council a shambles and threatened intervention.
Other ministers have referred to our council as a shambles. I would disagree with that.
The government began publicly musing about intervening this week after the council dug a fiscal hole hundreds of millions of dollars deep in its long-term plan by voting not to sell off its stake in Wellington Airport.
I reiterate that I still don't think we've met the threshold for government intervention. However, I do understand if the Minister has concerns.
It's not something we take lightly. They are an elected council.
The Mayor requested the meeting. Local Government Minister Simeon Brown didn't come away any more confident in the council.
When a council is relitigating, an entirety of its long-term plan that could have a significant impact on ratepayers, that is concerning.
You still hold the same concerns as you did yesterday?
Yeah, well, I think the reality is it's a significant change to the long-term plan, and we're expecting advice shortly.
The Minister requested advice on his options on Monday. He's yet to receive it. When that advice comes back, is it a matter of days before you act?
Well, look, as I said the other day, we'll receive the advice and then we'll consider it in terms of what it says.
Is an observer the most likely option?
Oh, look, I'm not going into any of that. We're waiting on the advice.
And it turns out he didn't go into any of that with the Mayor either.
He didn't raise the topic of government intervention.
Beehive sources have indicated to 3 News that an intervention is more likely than not. That the most likely course of action is appointing an observer to the council, and that once that advice comes back, it could happen pretty quickly within the next couple of weeks. Will you challenge that legally?
No, I don't believe we've met the threshold for an observer or commissioner. However, I understand the concerns that have occurred as a result of last week.
So if he makes a call, you will live with that?
I will live with it and I will work in good faith with him.
A minister and a mayor wait for advice that will seal the council's fate.
OK, Jenna, another big meeting about to get underway at Parliament. The Greens are deciding whether to kick out Darling Tana.
Yeah, somewhat unbelievably, this story is still ongoing, but today is D-Day, Darlene Day. The Greens have finally got their big hui with all of the membership to decide whether to invoke that waka jumping legislation to boot Darlene Tana out of here. Now, the Greens have a vexed history with that legislation. They have been largely opposed to using it in the past. The meeting is set to kick off in about 20 minutes' time, right down at the end of that corridor behind me. And despite having about 9 months to consider this, I'm still told that this meeting is likely to take a couple of hours because the Greens do like to talk. Darlene Tana didn't want to talk to us on camera today, but did send us a text message saying that she was heartbroken that the Greens were still pursuing this course of action. Now, even if the vote goes the way that most of the Green caucus thinks it will tonight, that membership does agree to use that waka jumping legislation, it still will not be the end of this saga. Darlene Tana has filed legal action in the Court of Appeal.
Jenna Lynch live from Parliament there.